Okay, Dale, Mo, are we ready to get this going? We got a story to tell, and there's people that want to hear our story, so I'm excited to get started because we're at 2:01 Eastern Standard Time, so we're already 1 minute late, and we know in show business that when it 1 minute matters, and it mattered in the drive-in concert series, so we definitely can't be any later than we already are. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this MLevel and Impact Epic Risk Consulting webinar. One concert, one night, 350 venues, thousands of staff trained in 3 days. A story to be told today over the next 45 minutes. We're going to spend the first 30 really going through the story and talking about the challenges that we were faced with and the solution and the successes. And then we're going to really open it up for Q&A. We have two individuals from the Epic team, specifically in the impact side of Epic, that just have years and years of experience. So I'm going to encourage you really to save those questions and ask them of both Mo and Dale as we go through. But to go ahead and get started, gentlemen, why don't we start with introductions? And Mo, as we discussed earlier, we're going to go from youth to the ugliest. So we'll go ahead and start with you.
Hey everyone, Josh, you're too kind. And you know the picture is me about 60 pounds lighter. So thanks for putting that up. I really appreciate it. So maybe it does make me a little prettier, and I didn't have hair on my face before the quarantine. I lost my razor somewhere along the line. I'm the managing principal for Impact, which is a performance-based solution that really covers a broad spectrum of services that we at Impact provide to our clients, from a retail perspective, a manufacturing, production, and obviously entertainment perspective. So we have a group of individuals that are spread across the country that are all practitioners in different fields, from supply chain to corporate security to finance to training and awareness in the asset protection arena. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. International.
Thanks, Mo, and hello everybody. Thanks for joining us today. As Mo mentioned, I'm part of the Impact Risk Consulting team, along with Mo and several others, and am one of the managing directors for our training and awareness solution at Epic, and happy to be here and discuss with all of you, a very exciting solution we were able to deliver for a very unique, series of events that just kicked off recently. So excited to get going, and hello from Canada. Go Leafs, go!
Dale, you know how excited I get when we have a Canadian. Obviously, being married to a Canadian, I have some allegiance to the country. So it's definitely exciting to have a Canadian. I'll say it. I'm an honorary, and you're a fellow Canadian to me. So my name's Josh Felix. I serve as a senior strategist at MLevel. MLevel is a digital learning platform. We were lucky enough to partner with the Impact team in regards to the project of the story that we're getting ready to tell you. So it was exciting to be able to work with Dale and be able to work with Mo and Chris Walton and Dennis, just throughout the entire team, TJ, John. It was just a great experience, and looking forward to telling that story. So before we get started, really wanted to share a couple of things that kind of bring it back home and what it really was all about as we went through the journey. And I think the journey, you can't really start a journey without a quote. And we'll start with this one quote, and this comes from Michael Ovitz. And if you're not familiar with Michael, I encourage you to Google him, but he is the founder of CAA. So one of the longest standing, agencies for both movie and actors, and now they've gotten to the pro sports world. But really, the unknown is always interesting. And this project, I don't think the quote says it better. We entered a world of unknown, and you know what? It became very, very interesting, very, very quick for us. So, that was exciting to see. But it was all about a drive-in concert experience. So we wanted to share some of those images, of what took place. So here you can see, the fans, a different concert experience and what they were going through, and just as the experience got started. So with that, Mo, let's talk about the challenge: how to train thousands of contract staff at 350 venues in one night to ensure individuals across North America had some time to escape. So with that, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, Mo. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Josh, and I appreciate that. Yes, I mean, folks, we're in unprecedented times, and we've all been practically cooped up in our homes for, let's say, the greater part of 4 months. And if you're anything like me or the rest of our respective teams on this call, we're all kind of travel ninjas, if you will. We all travel about 150 to 200 days a year, and that came to a screeching halt with the unfortunate events of COVID. And to throw on top of that all of the other things that are going on in our country, it's just been a time of, a time for us to reflect and a time for us to really take a step back and look at some different things. And so I was sitting at my home around 10 o'clock in the evening. And as you guys know from the introductions, I live in Las Vegas, and a really good friend of mine who's been a longtime friend for close to 15 years runs a company by the name of Encore Live. And I remember around 10 o'clock at night, my phone ringing. Now, he lives in Dallas, which is midnight his time. And he says, I have the craziest idea, and I really need your help. Do you think you can help? And if any of you guys knew my friend, he is one of the brightest, most creative people I've ever met in my career. And obviously his business, from a business perspective, they specialize in large corporate events, and they're essentially an events organization that puts on some of the best shows across the country, quite frankly, across the world. And he said to me, he said, listen, we have an opportunity to partner with, a very large artist, and we need, we're going to have, about 200 locations nationwide where we're going to stream, concerts, live to an audience that's at drive-in theaters. And I thought, well, what truck did you fall off of? That, I didn't think that, something like this could be done. But then he walked me through the strategy, and he walked me through the ideas of, people being in their homes, people not being able to get out, and how could we do this safely? How could we provide an experience to his client base and the artist's client base to create an event that was special, that was memorable, and most of all, that was fun and allowed people to get their minds off of everything that's going on in the world today and just immerse themselves in a live show. So the shows were pre-recorded either in Nashville or Los Angeles. The artist pre-recorded the show, and then we streamed the show live on 350 various screens across the country. What turned into a 200 screen sort of project turned quickly into the following day he called me and said, no, it's more like 350. So I remember calling my team that night or texting them saying, hey, look, guys, we've got a really big opportunity here, but there's a lot of heavy lifting we have to do. And oh, by the way, we've got 20 days to prepare for the first event, the first live event. So, I had a holy moment of saying, how do we get, one, the 350 different venues staffed? Number two, how could we ensure and make sure that, the events were safe, that everyone was following the protocols that are outlined by the CDC as it relates to social distancing. How would we handle egress and ingress of the events? How would we handle loss prevention and security services at the event? And so there, we got into action immediately. And most of all, how do you train over 1,000 people, for one event, for one night, in essentially 3 days, because we had to build the program first. And that's where our partnership with MLevel and our training and awareness group really allowed us to shine. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. International. You have a new name now.
I like it. So thanks, Mo. Thanks, Josh. So I was just looking back at my text messages from that night, and I think it was 1:11 a.m. Eastern, somewhere in there when the text messages started going off. And then I think literally the next morning, our team was on the call with Dennis and Kevin and TJ and everybody, really at 7:30 in the morning, trying to figure out the plan. And I guess that's where I'm going to pick it up, Mo, is I really categorize this into the plan, the development, and the delivery, given the speed at which this opportunity really presented itself, right? So the first point I want to talk about is the partnership with our Impact Profit Protection team, and working with Dennis and Kevin and their entire team to really help understand the audience, who these employees were going to be. And at that time, they didn't really exist yet, right? We needed to hire up for them. So the audience was key in understanding, the format that they would be able to take training in. I mean, it's not 350 retail stores or distribution centers. It's 350 separate locations, and yeah, they have a commonality that they're drive-in theaters, but really, they're all independently owned and whatnot, right? So consistency in terms of the delivery of training was definitely high on our list to figure out. And last but not least, the topics. What were the essential topics that we wanted to train these folks on, understanding we had a limited amount of time to train them. And we wanted to make sure that what we were training them on was the most important information they could take away and successfully perform in their jobs at these events. Once we had an understanding of the audience and the topics and format, we quickly determined that online training would be the best format to deliver this in short order. Via a digital platform, right? So we have the creative team to produce training modules. That's what we do every day on our team at Epic. But I definitely have to say we were very, very lucky that about a month prior to this time frame, I think this was in early May. A month prior to that, we had just formalized a strategic partnership with MLevel. And we really hadn't gotten into an official client project yet. And I do recall, having that discussion with Mo when the opportunity first presented itself, and listening to the excitement and some of the challenges that were going to be presented to itself. I think I actually wrote down on a sticky note and waved MLevel across the screen, right? And from that point forward, Mo just kind of said, let's get the people side of the house in order here, and take it away and present us with the training solution that you feel best suits this project, and that's what we did. So moving on to the development, really, so we kind of just went into development mode very quickly. We created a suite of 8 online training modules, each of them, approximately 4 to 5 minutes in length. We definitely didn't want to go over 5 minutes for any one particular training. We just wanted to make sure that they were short, sweet, to the point, and again, conveyed that the crucial, pertinent information that these folks needed to do their jobs. The topics, they ranged from access control, CDC guidelines, addressing disruptive behaviors with more of a COVID-19 safety measures spin to it, loss prevention basics, emergency action plans, first aid, and then how to create and how to complete a risk assessment. Right, it was part of one of the pieces that these loss prevention folks were looking at for us. So from there, we worked with MLevel and Josh really to take the training modules that we had built and host them on their platform. Lining them up with knowledge checks and some light gamification that really could be used to reinforce the training topics and the content with the learners, and as well as providing our management team that was responsible for all of these employees at the events the ability to track compliance, participation, comprehension of how folks were and how these employees were answering questions, to really fill in those knowledge gaps. The idea behind this was we wanted to create the training solution for the first event, but there's been more events since, and likely more to come. And with that, we wanted to make sure that it would be repeatable, and we could utilize any information that we were putting in the training and any of the knowledge gaps, and put that back into new training for future events.
Yeah, Dale, I'm going to just jump in, because I think the exciting part of what you just said was it was a partnership, right? It was group work that came together. You all have that expertise. Every day you're out working with your clients across the globe. I know, as Mo said, you guys can't travel, the 200 plus days a year, if we're talking real days, to those global clients. And then we needed a platform to deliver it. So we took really both of our expertise and we created this solution that was able to go to thousands of individuals. Well, let's just call it 350 cities, because there weren't many cities that had 2 locations. So 350 from Shediac, New Brunswick, to Tiger, Georgia, out to, the backcountry, in Portland, Oregon, or, it could have been in Vegas, Mo, where you were. We went all over from Canada to the US, and we delivered this to all these individuals in 3 days, and we took those topics and those concepts. And the one word that you brought up was the knowledge gap. And really want to dig in a little bit more on how important that knowledge gap became, because just being happy at 80% of mastery wasn't good enough for us. We needed individuals to get 100% mastery, because we knew that there was a risk in regards to what was getting ready to take place on that Saturday night. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit more with you in regards to the knowledge gaps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, in chatting with Dennis from our team, and Dennis is really responsible for overseeing effectively all of these new staff. And it was amazing to be able to provide him with not just the participation numbers or the compliance numbers to say, yeah, you've got 1,000 employees and 950 have taken the training. Well, that's great, but what are they learning from it? Like, where are there holes in this information that we're trying to present to them? And there wasn't many. However, the ones that I think we're able to identify were very interesting, and to be able to pull that report really on demand and be able to provide it to him and the team to just give them a heads up that hey, there's some gaps in knowledge here, and I know it's things that they're going to want to get in front of with the with the current staff and any additional staff that they hire, right? So we're able to quickly identify that and provide them that data, which is crucial for something like this.
Yeah, no, and as we continue, digging in, we talked about, just the ability to take your custom content. Nothing was generic, right? We literally went through every one of these modules and we created it custom for the event, and how to really relay that content across North America, 2000s. I know when, Mo and I and you were speaking earlier today, Mo said if we didn't have the solution, we were going to have to print PDFs and ship them out to 350 different cities, and hope that people actually went through it. But all of a sudden there was a solution. There was a solution to really have a metric around completion and knowledge mastery, and with that solution brought great success. And I really want to spend the next, 9 or so minutes talking about the success that we were able to drive. And Mo, I think you summarize it best. And I'm going to turn it over to you because I definitely don't want to take the words from your mouth. So definitely allow you to really talk about that success and, how it summarizes down. And you're on mute, Mo, so let me just unmute you.
No, that was me. I'm sorry.
No worries.
The way that I would summarize the success and the way that I would look at this is if you took a college stadium that fits 60 to 70,000, some colleges 100,000 for a Saturday football game, how do you secure a college game? You have, hundreds of staff that are working as security guards or loss prevention professionals or anything like that. And even at college games, you always have issues. There's never a time where there's not some type of incident. So the way that I would summarize that is that we estimated that we would have some issues at these events, especially when you have over 350,000 people attend these events. Yes, that is correct. We had over 350,000 people in attendance at these drive-in theaters across the country. And, we had 1,000 people that were, we had 1,000 staff members, from supervisors to loss prevention associates that were monitoring and ensuring that all of these things would go off without a hitch. And our number one priority, obviously, in this environment was taking care of the patrons and taking care of, the event and ensuring that everyone was safe and everyone was practicing social distancing the way that, Encore asked us to really perform the duties out there. And out of all of the events that we had across the country, and I'm knocking on wood now because, as Dale said, there are more events that we have done since, and there are more events that we're going to do in the future. But out of those events, we had 0 incidents. And for me, that was a huge success. Even if we had 2 or 3 incidents, I would have been happy with that. But to have a live event where folks are driving into a drive-in theater, and I know it's different than a live event where, you have an artist and you have a whole bunch of people in the crowd. But at the end of the day, it was a drive-in theater. There were thousands of people there, and we had the event go off without a hitch, no incidents, no one hurt. It was really one of those fun, exciting things that we got to talk about. I mean, we ran a central command center out of Boston, one out of Dallas, one out of on the West Coast, out of Seattle, and as we were on the phone through all of the event streaming, we were all up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And for Dennis on the East Coast, it was 7 a.m. But until the last show ended, we were super surprised and we're super proud of our team members across the country for delivering that experience that Encore was looking for and the artist was looking for. So, so for me, that was a success. Everyone was safe. Everyone was performing good social distancing. And furthermore, we had 0 incidents. So since then, we've done another event with the same outcome, with where we only had 1 incident, which was a very minor incident. But other than that, these drive-in concerts have really been a true success for the safety of the patrons who are attending, and quite frankly, for the theater owners as well.
Yeah. Well, Mo, I appreciate that. And I think it's a great summary. Dale, I know you want to jump in and talk a little bit about the delivery that really drove to the success. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, one of the final pieces. I mean, we had we had the custom content created, which is great, and a lot of great feedback on that. Obviously, we have the MLevel platform, which hosts the content and provides unique experiences from a user perspective. But one of the pieces that I was trying to figure out is how to get 1,000 people that didn't exist usernames and passwords into a training system. So, I was quite happy that was about a 4-second conversation with Josh when I said, we don't have an HR data feed. They don't really exist yet. We need to hire them. So, he walked us through one of the, very easy, solutions that the MLevel platform has on bringing people in. And Josh, I kick that over to you to explain that a little bit more. But to be able to do that and send people a link, and they can self-register and get themselves a username and password, and come into our platform and successfully take all of the training. They're able to do it via a mobile experience. So most folks, I believe, downloaded the app to their smartphones. And the training was very, very easy to access via mobile if you happen to be sitting at a computer. Obviously a great experience as well. But I was pretty impressed at the ease of getting all of these folks registered. And I think that's just hats off to the flexibility that you have within the platform, Josh. So I'm not sure if you want to talk a little bit more about that, but please do.
Yeah, Dale, thank you. Yeah.
Hey, Dale, I have one quick question and one quick comment around what you just mentioned before Josh gets going on what he's talking about. But we oftentimes talk about, the retention of the information. And maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit more, because Josh is going to talk about the technology and those types of things, but elaborate a little bit more around, you've got a lot of content that you're trying to strip down to specific topics, and how crucial that is from a retention standpoint, and why being able to access it on your mobile phone or your computer is so critical.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things, about this particular solution is we're able to pair, very engaging creative that was customized to that audience, but we're able to provide the users with an experience that they could answer some questions, they could play some light games, really as a way to reinforce what they had just learned in the previous 4.5 minutes of reviewing an online training module. But the great thing is being able to go back into it very easily through your mobile or logging on from wherever you can get to a device, and retake any training that you see fit. And the scoring is very slick. It allows, at the end of each course you take, when you complete the knowledge checks and the games, it really allows you to focus in as a user, the areas that you didn't quite get right, through what MLevel calls their mastery scoring system, which is pretty cool. And you can go back through, you can focus in on the areas that you might have had a gap as a learner yourself. And furthermore, from a manager's perspective, the folks that are responsible for all these employees could also check in on that, and they could follow up directly with an employee at any one of the events and say, hey, you happen to get the hand sanitizer question wrong. And, I thought we might spend some time talking about that. And have you learned from that, from when you took the training? So very slick in terms of allowing the user to do some self-reinforcement and basically have the system identify where they have gaps in their knowledge.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's great points you brought up. And I'm just going to kind of jump back, and you talked about getting, the 1,000+ users into the system. Our dev team at MLevel, just always goes above and beyond. And we have a solution called one-click provisioning. And that solution was what we were able to deploy for this use and for this use case that we had, that allowed, as you mentioned, for you all to send a URL to newly hired staff that were going to be part of the events. They simply clicked on the URL, they entered their first name, last name, email address, and then we made the decision to capture 2 additional fields, their location, and we also, captured their title in regards to what position they were going to hold during the event. So that allowed them instant registration. They did not have to wait for usernames to come back across. As soon as they registered, they were in the training. And that allowed us, and following back up on your last point that you made, to keep individual records on each individual user. And then we were able to take that information and distribute it to the 350 different venue managers that, as you mentioned, could go back and focus on any knowledge gaps that existed on a one-on-one basis, because the individuals, they were reporting 4 hours before the show started. So it allowed you to go through that information, as we call it, the end user scorecard, and it allowed the manager to look at that end user scorecard, and all of a sudden they were creating real-time coachable moments on site with real-time knowledge data to help ensure that event was the safest event possible. And without your content and without the MLevel platform, we would not have been able to prevent, incidents, as Mo mentioned, from taking place. I can definitely say that from spending 15 years in the event industry, prior to this career that I'm in now and learning, but it wouldn't have been possible. But it was made possible by the creative, and I didn't give a shout out to Chris Walton, and I need to do that, because on the creative side of Impact, if we didn't have Chris, we wouldn't have the beauty and the originality of the content that was presented. But then the data side, and really a shout out to our MLevel dev team for creating data and analytics and insights that really allowed those coachable moments to take place. So a great comment in regards to that. I think one more picture that I wanted to share, and I think it's a personal favorite of mine, because I think it talks about really the flexibility of our platform. Mo mentioned, our ability to push data to the command centers, both in Boston, Dallas, and then up to the Pacific Northwest. I was lucky enough to go with my family to a show. I'm based here in Atlanta, as I'd mentioned, on the South Side. And we went down to Macon, Georgia for the show to kind of check out that experience. And this is actually me in my wife's car, punching up the 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time completion report. And we punched that report up, and we were able to distribute that to the command centers that Saturday night to ensure they had the most up-to-date data. So I appreciate Dennis's patience, because, sometimes I might have been a little delayed on the top of the hour, but we definitely got it out to the command centers, and we were able to deliver that information. But one thing I did want to mention, and, Mo said it, but I think it deserves to be said one more time, is that there's 350,000 attendees across North America that were able to escape the current world that we're in, of just the craziness that's going on. If it's the pandemic, if it's, Mo, as you mentioned, if it's riots, if it's just the unknown of what life's bringing you, for 2.5 hours. And we had a family safe experience. And that's a true testament to the Impact team, to the MLevel platform, and truly to all those thousands of workers that span 350 venues, to the teams that sat within the command centers waiting to help those different venues out on anything that took place. But I think it's so important to remember, this was really about the attendees. This was about the patrons. We were here to deliver an experience that they could escape the real world. And with that, Dale, I'm going to turn it over to you to really wrap up the project, and then we're going to open it up for any questions. If you do have questions, you can feel free to put those questions into the chat window, or you can use the raise hand function, and we will unmute you and allow you to, present your question at that time. But Dale, I want to go ahead and turn it over to you to wrap up.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I think in summary, I look at a very successful training solution for this series of events. But if I kind of look, for our team and our Impact team and our training awareness team at Epic, I mean, when COVID-19 hit, I mean, it brought a lot of change for everyone. And one of my long-term, colleagues, friends, mentors, in the retail industry anyway, I was chatting with him in early March, and he said, 4 months from now, 5 months from now, when this hopefully is over, look back and truly ask yourself, were you able to innovate during this time? And I kind of remember that conversation, and I think that led us into a lot and thinking along the innovation lines with our team and having those discussions with John, TJ, and Chris, Mo, Kevin, everybody on a daily basis. We challenged ourselves to innovate, and we found MLevel in each other, and formed a partnership through common relationship. And we look back now and we've been able to offer innovative solutions to clients like Encore that help makes events like this successful, right? There's the people side and the training side, and I'm extremely proud that we were able to bring the training side to match up with the the extraordinary staffing services on that side of the house. So innovation is key, and I strongly believe we can bring this solution to multiple industries, large companies, small, medium businesses, you name it, with the power of the training and the creative we have partnered with the application and the technology that you have, Josh, with MLevel. I think the sky's the limit, and industry agnostic, and ready to go. So I'll end with that.
Great. Well, if there's any questions that you have, feel free to use the raise hand function. I'll definitely unmute you, or feel free to put those questions in the chat window. Dale, we had a couple questions just to get us started that actually people sent via email. I don't know if they were sure that we were going to have a Q&A session. But the first question that somebody sent via email was to talk about the timeline for the deliverable. I know Mo had mentioned, 20 days out, but maybe you can, dig a little bit deeper on what brought us to that 3-day mark.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say 20 days out. So we probably had a little over a week to really develop the custom training modules. So, that was just, everybody was just in the mode, right? We were working with Dennis and the profit protection team to, develop the SOPs and turn it into module scripts, and then into live training modules, and then working with you ferociously to get them all tested and added to the system, and put all the creative bells and whistles together to launch it, right? So it really came down to June 24th is when we delivered the site to Mo, Dennis, Kevin, and the team, as this training site is now good for users to come in. And it had 8 training modules. It had all the user provisioning taken care of. And within that 3-day window, that the June 24th to the 27th at 8:59, when you were in line there with your laptop, I mean, really, that's when the training took place. And it was that tight of a deployment for the new hires coming on board. And another impressive thing with that is typically when you have new hire training, if you're retail, manufacturing, whatever the case may be, I mean, yeah, you have new hires, but you have tenured employees that are there to show them the way at the same time, right? Well, in this case, we didn't have that. Everybody was new, short of Kevin and Dennis and Mo and the team that was providing the loss prevention leadership. All of the employees were new, right? So they couldn't turn to the person next to them and say, how do you do this first aid, or what does this loss prevention policy mean, right? It was all new, and to do that in that 3-day window was awesome. And it was it was crazy and hectic and all those things, but hey, that's what's exciting.
Yeah. Well, great. I see one question that came in is, how did you handle support for the event? And I'm going to assume that this was the technical support side. I think, unfortunately, this has to come to me. So this is my plan of being host as well as panelist. So for technical support, I think one of the things that we're proud of, Mo talks about 0 incidents. We had 11 support tickets come in from end users taking the training, from those 1,000+ people going through the training. Fantastic. And I will tell you, out of those 11 support tickets, not one of them, which, knock on wood, as Mo did earlier, was technology related. It came down to, I forgot my password, or I'm not sure which module I'm supposed to go back into. So it was very minor when it came to that. But that support desk on the MLevel side was manned 24 hours a day, 3 days a week during our deployment, to ensure that we were covering across the spectrum from East Coast to West Coast. And the one thing that Dale and I joked about, was not only were we going East Coast to West Coast, but we were going to the Atlantic time zone. And that was one thing that we had to take into mind. So we were actually an hour even earlier than the East Coast, because we were playing within the provinces of Canada and going, east to that side. So it was just nice that we were able to take care of that support and deliver, a great solution that way. Mo, I think this next question is probably best for you, and I'm going to turn it over to you. The attendee asks, and want to make sure that we clarified it. Is this what you guys specialize in, is the event side, or are there other verticals that the Impact team really plays well within?
Josh, that's a great question, and thanks for whoever asked that question. So Impact really specializes in 4 specific areas. One is profit protection, where we provide our clients with robust operational audit programs, business continuity programs, investigations and those types of things. Then another piece is obviously the training and awareness piece, which is all customizable. It's not off the shelf training and awareness. And then we also have a group that focuses on workers' compensation liability reduction. So, from a liquidity standpoint, we're very, very important on the work comp side. And then last but not least, our analytics platforms that we utilize to really make us very data driven in things that we look at. So we're agnostic to industries, if you will. The entertainment industry is just one of our larger industries that Epic as a whole really specializes in. From whether it be an insurance perspective or events like this, but retail is quite frankly our bread and butter. But again, we're agnostic. We have manufacturing clients, we have hospitality clients, we have production clients. So we and in the healthcare space. So we really operate in all verticals on this platform, or whether we do any type of training or awareness or profit protection.
Great. Well, I appreciate it, Mo. Let's see. We have time for one more question, it looks like. And Dale, this one's going to come to you. In regards to the custom learning content it states, how did you pick the MLevel platform? What made it feel like it was the right fit in regards to what you were designing to how you were going to deliver that?
Yeah, I guess the first few things to come to mind is gamification. I mean, that's it's not a new word, but it's certainly a popular word in the world of training, in the world of what we do. And we often get asked from our clients, if we have the ability to create and deliver gaming and gamification. So I'd like to answer that by saying game-based learning, yes, but gamification is more of a platform-driven thing, which we didn't have that as part of our component offering. So I would say, the gamification side of it for sure. Once we got connected and had kind of known of MLevel from the industry and some other clients that I work with or have worked with in the past that spoke highly of the MLevel platform. So good reputation. And then I think when we all got together, our team and yourself, Jordan and Jenna, we shared these common objectives and goals for training and how we saw the industry, where we wanted it to go, and the need for MLevel to have some the custom creative content that we can offer, and the need for us to have the application side of the house that we couldn't offer, right? So it seemingly was a perfect marriage. And I think this opportunity proves that, and it's truly great to work with a team that shares a common goal and vision that we do with regards to delivering compelling training to a wide range of employees.
Great. Mo, I want to turn it over to you. Any closing remarks that you have? I know we're at 2:45 and we just want to respect everybody's time here, but definitely want to allow you any closing remarks from your desk.
Yeah, listen, we really appreciate everyone joining us. We are super thankful to the MLevel team for all of their support. It is, in my opinion, the most kick-ass system out there. It is truly an intuitive platform that allows us to really reach not just in this space, but we use this platform for some of our retail clients as well. It is truly been great to partner with MLevel, from the support they've provided to their flexibility in all of our crazy asks. But we really appreciate all of you guys joining. And if you have a training need or you have a partnership need on that front, we'd love to help you from our perspective. That is the only sales pitch I'm doing today. Josh told me not to sell anything, but I'm pitching to say, if you need help, we're here to support you.
No, Mo, that's great. I think that's great closing. And obviously, Mo, Dale, I appreciate your time today. I think, we're able to tell a story, and that story was one concert, one night, 350 venues, thousands of staff trained in 3 days. And we went through the challenge, and we talked about how it was accomplished today and how two companies came together, both Epic and the Impact team and the MLevel digital learning platform, to deliver that training. And really closing with one more time, because Mo, I find this the most important piece of the entire webinar that you stated. 350,000 attendees across North America were able to escape for 2.5 hours from what's going on in today's world and have an absolute zero incident experience for their family. And with that being said, we hope everybody has a fantastic day. We look forward to our next webinar and our next success story with our partnership with the Impact team as we continue to grow this partnership. But with that being said, Dale, Mo, thank you very much. My name is Josh Felix. I am the Senior Strategist here at MLevel, and we look forward to connecting again soon. Thanks.